So my name is Fatima. I use she, her pronouns. I am a senior at Barnard College, Columbia University, majoring in computer science and minoring in education. Originally, I'm from Kazakhstan. I was born and raised there, but I moved here with my family 6 years ago. So I got the chance to experience the high school part of it, and also now I'm in the college.
You create your college list, and how many schools did you end up applying to?
So, regarding that, I honestly do not remember the number of colleges I applied to because I was just applying and hoping I would get into at least one. But what happened is during my senior year, I think in September, Questbridge opened up and I applied to Questbridge. I applied through Questbridge. I got through the first round. And then when it came to the second round, so applying to the colleges, I basically pretty much applied to all the colleges that was on the list. At the time was probably they had like 40 partners. Right now they probably have more.
Mm.
But I did all the big like private Ivy League schools. I remember I definitely did like Stanford because I was like, I want to go to California. I did Northwestern. I also want to stay in the East Coast. So I did the Quest Bridge, but I was not betting much on the Quest Bridge because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. So what I did is I also did the regular ones. I did the Common App and I applied to all the CUNYs. I also submitted some application to the SUNY schools, to the state universities in New York.
Mhm.
And I did Barnard. I did Barnard to coming up as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much.
What admissions did you do for Barnard?
So I did the regular decision for all schools. I did not do any early action, no early decisions because I was
Yeah.
not ready to commit to a school with the early decision. But also, I think I learned pretty late about early action. So
My next question is like, how did you like stand out as an applicant to your college from like your personal background and like what kind of activities did you participate in high school that you think you made you stand out?
yes, when I was writing my college supplementals, like the essay, it was so cliche, I think, in a sense of like I wrote about my struggle coming to United States. So when what happened is at the time of the application, I was in the United States only for like 3.5 years, but by then, I was the top student in my class. I was the president of my class as well. I participated in a lot of extracurriculars. I did volunteering at a hospital. At the moment, I was thinking I'm gonna go into pre-med, so I was like, volunteering in the hospital is a good, good thing to put on my resume. I also did Girls Who Code summer immersion program over the summer, where I learned about the programming languages, different programming languages. I also were part of different clubs at school. I helped a lot with my worked alongside with my student. Um, I don't know what was the title of that person, but she would organize a lot of different events for the students. So that's what I did. Um, that's I think that's about it. Pretty much just volunteering and like extracurricular activities.
Yeah. My next question was like, did you apply to like any fly-in programs your senior year?
No, see, the thing is, I did not know anything about the college applications, and it was a little bit tough. I did not know that the fly-ins existed. I learned about fly-ins only, I think, when I was a freshman in my college, and we are like, "Oh, would you like to sign up to be like this person who would host like the fly-in students?" I was like, "Oh, wow! I wish I knew such things existed, because I would have definitely done it." But no, I did not do myself personally.
Yeah, so do you have any like last advice for like high school students right now?
Yes, I guess first things first is that do not really stress about it, I'd say, because I know a lot of students are stressed about colleges and wanting to get into a particular college. But what I want to say is that you will end up where you're supposed to be. So whatever you end up, that's the place for you to be. Even though if it's going to be a temporary and then you can transfer to another school, if you end up somewhere, that means there is a lesson to learn from that place. And honestly, do not stress about it. College is really like the application process into college is not the hardest thing. So don't waste all your energy into that. Also be proactive, apply early, try to reach out to more teachers to look over your supplements and see where you can improve. If the interviews, for example, if the schools have the optional of you requesting the interview with their representatives, sign up for that and don't be scared about it, because this is your chance also to learn about the colleges, to learn about more like a first hand from the person about the opportunities that they offer.
Yeah.
So definitely sign up for that as well. And good luck.
Yeah. Another question I had is just how did you like actually go about like starting to write the essays and like writing supplements? This is what I'm going through and it's
Absolutely. I don't know how it is right now, but at the time we had prompts. For example, I know Common App had at least like five prompts that you could have chosen from. And what I did is, to be honest, I hate writing. Writing is not my thing. So I decided to talk about I think a challenge that I came no a challenge that I faced, and then how I went about it is that write out everything you want to say. Like, don't worry about formatting, don't worry about the word limit, do not worry about anything, just write out all your thoughts and what you want to say. And then from there you can just reread it, read it, and then cut it out sentence by sentence. See where you're reiterating yourself, see where the main points are, see what you want to emphasize on. And what they teach you in, I don't know if they teach you in high school, but what I learned in college while writing essays is you need to have a structure for an essay. So first paragraph is the introduction, and in the introduction, like the last sentence is you're stating the main points of your whole essay. So let's say if you have three paragraphs, body paragraphs, you focus on you mention each paragraph, each point in your introduction. Then your first body paragraph is talking about one thing. The second is talking about the other thing. And the third is talking about something else. And then the conclusion, basically reiterating everything that you said. But how I structured my essay was I started off talking about how since childhood I had to adjust to a lot of new things. Like I went to a kindergarten where I spoke in Kazakh. Then I went to first grade where I had to learn Russian. Then my native language is neither of those. It's like one of the Chinese dialects. So by the age of, I guess, 10, I was fluent in three languages. Then I had to change schools, for example, because back in Kazakhstan, you stay in one school for all 11 years. But then here, the change happened and I had to adjust to that. So then another change happened is when I had to move to United States. So I had to adjust to that again. And then I spoke all about those adjustments and then what I learned from each of those adjustments and how am I utilizing all those skills that I learned in my daily life today.
yeah. Um
I hope that was comprehensive enough.
yeah. Another question I wanted to ask was how is the Barnard community like? It being like an all-girl institution. Um I actually did a Barnard Bound, their online flying program, and I really did like the community there. Just like all women empowering each other, and it's like
I
really supportive.
community, whatever you hear about Barnard and whatever they say about the community in the sense of like they're being very like strong community, everyone is very empowering of each other and everyone is very supportive of each other. That is true because that was my main, I guess, thing that I liked about the Barnard and essentially why I chose Barnard because of the community. My journey with Barnard started a little bit earlier because I was doing a step program at Barnard.
Hmm.
So it's the science technology enrichment program. And I did it for like a year or two. And while I was in that program, I interacted a lot with the current Barnard students, and they taught me a lot. They were really nice. They were very helpful. And I was like, wow, like even the administration was super helpful in a sense. Like whatever you had the question, you just go and they would help you without like not just saying like, okay, you know what, yeah, just do this, but they will actually like, okay, we need to go here and like lead you through the way. And even now, like you will meet a lot of like-minded people at Barnard as well. And it is truly like the friends that I made from like my freshman year, we're still friends toward like even today.
Oh, that's great. This is all I had the questions I had in mind, but if you want to talk about anything else, you're free.
Okay, honestly, I don't know. Do you have any prompts?
I do have a follow-up. So you mentioned, so I'm gonna go back to your college. You mentioned you just applied to like schools and you didn't, you know, you just applied everywhere, right? So knowing what you know now and knowing what you've been through the college application process, what would you do differently? Like making a list of colleges or like applying to colleges? How would you go about it now?
um, yes, at the time when I was applying, I did not, I guess my main concern was like getting into the college without really looking into the resources that the colleges were offering. So that's something I would definitely like if I would go back, look into like what resources are available to students, what are the even classes that are offered. Like Barnard is a liberal arts school, so we have a lot of those classes. But at the same time, because with the partnership with Columbia, we also have a STEM heavy courses. Like this worked out perfectly. Like there are schools that are only STEM heavy without like emphasizing on the liberal arts. There are schools that are only liberal arts heavy and without emphasizing on the STEM part. But like Barnard was the perfect combination because, for example, our core, like the foundations that we have to, it's a lot of liberal arts school and it's classes, I mean, and you get exposed to variety of different fields. So like we have um, thinking locally, for example. You have to take a class that is like teaches you about local stuff. Also thinking globally or like technology course that you also have to take as a requirement. Social sciences as well. Humanity, I mean like, that is humanities, but social sciences, but there's like an arts class, like a phys ed. So looking into the, I guess, programs that are offered at the colleges, that's one thing. The other thing I would also look for probably would be the size of the classes. um, Personally, I do prefer smaller seminars because you get to talk and you also more invested in that class compared when it's a lecture. Like I've noticed a pattern about myself is whenever I have a lecture class, I would I could easily just skip that because you know what? It's a lecture, nobody cares. Professor doesn't take an attendance, so why would I go? But with a seminar, I can't really skip it because it's already so little people and I'm also learning a lot from that class.
For sure. So you're essentially saying you will do more research, spend more time, you know, researching the school to make sure that you really fit in, to make sure that you really like the school that you're applying to, not just for the name of it or the status. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the same mistake I've made, and I will. Yeah. So what would you say, like, the maximum schools for students to apply to? Because they could
Mm,
go overboard like we did.
true. That is true. What's the bare minimum right now? So you already know?
Um, I think on the Common App you can only apply to 20, but
Okay.
I went from 20 and now I have like around 13. So
Okay. I mean, I think 13 is a pretty good and reasonable number because you're giving yourself some options. You're being realistic. So at the time when I was applying, I think if I remember correctly, like my teachers recommended me like apply to, let's say your dream school is like an I don't know, a school that you know that you won't get in but you still want to still apply to that, you never know. Then apply to like a medium schools that you think you have a shot in, and then also apply to a safety schools like
yeah,
you know you're gonna get into that school for sure. Do not only limit yourself to like the high aiming, also still apply to like the um
backup.
colleges, universities that you know you're gonna get in to give yourself like some safety.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. Having a balanced school list is very important because you never know, like, as much as you could be a top candidate with amazing extracurriculars and amazing essay, story, you don't know what the college is looking for in a student. So you could
Absolutely.
always be faced with a rejection when their acceptance, like amazing students get rejected from so many top colleges because they just don't have seats for everyone.
Mhm.
Um,
That's what happened to me. I so I think I got waitlisted. I don't remember exactly, but I think I got waitlisted for Hunter. But I got into yeah, Barnard Columbia. So
Yeah, so we never know like why a CUNY is rejecting Fatima and then an Ivy League small liberal arts college within it is accepting
oh.
Fatima. But yeah, so okay, so just related to your college application process, you've mentioned that you like at the time of your application process, you were only here for 3 years and you didn't know a lot of resources, probably. You didn't have a lot of connections. You didn't know how the education system worked as much as like other your peers who were applying at that time. So what helped you like navigate through that process? What helped you like keep sane? What helped you like know what to do in the next process? Just because this whole thing is a beast, and then on top of that, you have the financial aid that you to apply for, scholarships. So everything just piles up in that one academic year. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It was a stressful year in the sense of like, um, okay, let's take step by step. So first question, what helped me navigate through that was people, were people. I talked to people. I was like, I don't know. And I would go to my guidance counselor. If not, I would go to my teachers. I also had a cousin who also went through the process and is in the college. So I would ask them questions. I would also because I was in a step program, within that step program we had like the college preparedness part of it as well. So they also told us about like the SATs, for example. You need this score for an SAT, and they did offer some SAT prep courses because I did not know about SAT. I remember this very vividly. I think in 10th grade we take the PSAT, right? One day I did not even know what that was for. So there's like, oh, we're gonna take PSAT. I said, okay. I was like, damn. And my English, listen to this. I still was in ESL class back then, which is like the English second language class. I did not pass that class yet. I did not take that bar exam yet. So my level of English was still like elementary, intermediate-ish. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the PSAT. I think I pretty much sank the like the English part, but I did do pretty okay on the math. But then I was like, after that, the scores came out. I think I got like a 700, maybe even less. I was like, okay. And I asked them, oh, what is this for? And they're like, oh, this is for colleges. I was like, oh, for colleges. Okay. And then they're like, next year, we're going to take at the same time the SAT, which is the score that you will need for the college. And I was like, okay, good to know, good to know. So after that, I started prepping. I started looking for the courses, and then the step was one of those where they helped us with it. I still did very pretty bad on English part, but math at least was okay. The other question that you asked um was what? I forgot.
What resources did you utilize along the way? Um,
Oh, okay. So for the resources, um, also I guess Google, majority of the time was Google and the people. Um, you're not alone in a sense, even with your friends who are going through the same thing. It's better to go with someone rather than yourself. And also don't be afraid of reaching out to people because people went through it, people know it. Um, and they will give you the advice. Majority of the time, people are very welcoming and very would be happy to share with you the knowledge.
yes. So jumping a little ahead to your college decisions. So I'm only asking this because I've been through the same thing. And you mentioned, I don't know how your college decisions were from other schools. Um, since you applied to like vast majority of schools, like did you get into multiple, or were you waitlisted in most of them? How did that look like?
I think I got few rejections. I mean, not more rejections than acceptances because I did apply to schools that were like much higher and out of my league. Um, like pretty much all the IBs rejected me. I got into the Adelphi University. That was my first acceptance, I think, the Adelphi University. But the financial package was not really good. So I was like, okay, I'll think about it. Then the CUNYs, I got into the CUNYs. I got waitlisted for Hunter, but which is so fun to me. But I think the next day I got the Barnard. And when I got my acceptance from Barnard, I somehow felt at peace. I'm just like, I think this is it. Like, this is it. I do not care about any other like answers from any other colleges. So it's like this is the college that I do want to go, and they did accept me, and the financial aid was amazing. So I accepted it, and that's how I ended up here as well.
For sure. So before you heard back from Barnard, you were faced with a couple of rejections and wait lists. So how did you go about, going through the process? Like, did you ever question yourself? Did you like, how did you like, I mean, everyone feels terrible about rejections, but how did you deal with it? Like,
Um,
what would you recommend to others to do when they faced rejection?
I can't even really tell you exactly because I think I'm such a person that does not dwell on the negatives. What I like to tell myself is like, well, okay, they rejected me. That means I do not belong in there, like at that university. That's not my place. So, and that helped me a lot. Keeping, I guess, the right mindset um, goes a very long way. And because you can't really do anything about it. Okay, they rejected me. What I would tell also my friends, so it's like they did not accept you, like they rejected you, they're a loss. They're a loss. They missed out on this amazing student. So thinking that way helped me a lot to cope through those.
For sure. That is amazing to hear. I did not deal with it the same way you did. I applaud you for that. But okay, so financial aid. I think I think that's a big, factor of college applications that students often don't know a lot about. Like they think that only rich people go to like those big elite colleges. They think, there isn't aid, even if there is. Even my students in high school, like I remember when I told my AP psych teacher, like I got into Columbia, she was like, yeah, but you can't go, right? Because you don't have the money. And I was so offended by it. I was like, no, of course I will go because I did get the support I need. So maybe like if you want to touch upon like a little bit, and then I can fill into the financial aid and how like maybe they shouldn't be worried as much about it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that was the other part of the question that I missed is about the financial aid. And truly was stressful. I was like, there are so many questions. How do I answer it? I don't know. My parents don't know. No one knows. And then there was the other part of it, CSS, I think. Also, I was like, oh my God, why? And whenever I asked my father, I was like, Dad, what's the social security number? He's like, why do you need it? Don't give out social security to anyone. But financial aid is it's a huge factor of the college applications because and the sooner you do it the better, the more money you can get, so do not leave it till the last moment. And colleges also look a lot at the financial aids, for example, like the opportunity programs. When you submit your application, first they look at your application, but then they also look at the financial aid package, and only then they send to the opportunity programs, for example, to see whether you qualify or not. But when I was applying to the financial aid, I just had to sit down, all my teachers, go ask the questions to reassure that like filled it in correctly, put in the right numbers, and then what happens after as well. Like I needed to know. And so what happens with financial aid, you submit your application first, then I guess on the other side they evaluate it and then they give you the money, but they don't give you the money directly. While filling out the financial aid, you need to put in the colleges that you're applying for. So the name of the college code, everything, and then they will just once you accept the college, like your decision, decide on which college you're going to, then the money will be already like directly sent to the college. And then the colleges also come up with their own financial aid packages. So every college, every university has a financial aid office where they generate all these like calculations. Basically they looked at the tuition, they looked at the room and board, um, and then they see how much, like for example maybe school can give you, then they see how much the FAFSA gave you, how much like the other scholarships gave you. Another thing with the scholarships is that there are outside of university scholarships, but there are also some within the university. So university, the colleges can give you their own scholarships, but you can externally apply to like bunch of other scholarships, which sometimes what happens with those scholarships is the money gets sent directly to the college, or they can send you the money, but then you have to only use it for the college. Um, at the time, I did not know about this process. Well, not that I did not know, I was aware of it, but I wasn't clear on how it works, so I didn't do the scholarships. And maybe if I knew, I would have forced myself to write those supplementals because I hate it. I was like, it asked me to write an essay. I don't feel like writing an essay. I already have to write my college essay. Like, I don't have time for this. But what I learned is that you could reuse your college supplemental for those scholarships, just tweak it a little bit, change some parts here and there, and then submit it, because the more money you get, the better. Like, it never hurts you. And even if you get more financial aid, let's say, compared to the tuition you have to pay, the money will get to you, like they will transfer it back to you, which you can use for your personal like expenses.
Yeah, for sure. And I just wanted to add on to that, like a lot of students, even when I was applying to colleges, my peers who were really, really top candidates to apply to like these colleges in my eyes, were they didn't even apply because they mentioned that it was too expensive. And a lot of the times they don't apply to private schools. And then they say, private schools, like it has a, I think, connotation to it that it's like it is an expensive college, but it also has a lot of money to offer you compared to like, public schools or public colleges, because their only source of money is through the government. Um, so with that being said, like I think private schools do offer a lot more financial aid. Like after you fill out the FAFSA, which only it determines how much your family is able to pay, a lot of the money, the aid comes from the college themselves. Um,
Yes.
so just keep that in mind, and don't be, just the name of like private school scare you away, and you'll be fine. Financial aid, scholarships, colleges will look at your family income and try to figure out how to best support you. And you can always appeal your financial aid decisions.
Mhm. Absolutely. I know it seems like a lot and like sounds like a lot of steps, but honestly, like everything is doable. You just need to write it out and like visually see the steps that you need to take. And truly, it's not that many. Like financial aid is something that also could be done in one sitting. Like
Mhm.
um, than the applications you submit. But hopefully, the spring semester of your senior year is going to be a little bit more relaxing in the sense of like you'll be done with all these applications, and then it's only the time matter where you need to find out where you're going. But still try to enjoy your senior year because it is a senior year and this is like your last time you're going to be in high school. College is different because in college it's I imagine like right now in high school you have like a close of group of friends, right?
Yeah.
And you'll pretty much know everyone in your grade. You like socialize with them. In college is different. Once you get into college, first of all, hopefully that bond doesn't break with your friends, but it's a little bit harder to stay in touch with them because you're let's say in one college, facing your own difficulties, they're at the different college and facing their other things, and then time wise, also like the schedule wise, there's a lot of, I guess, you're very busy, so it's hard to stay in touch. And
Mhm.
in college, there isn't much emphasis on like the friendship anymore. There's more about the academics. You also have to worry now about finding an internship, looking for jobs, preparing for the internship. So a lot of investment into the future compared to while you're in high school right now. It's more about building those meaningful friendships, enjoying your youth. Because once the college starts, it's just like you feel old.
You, how was your first year um, adjusting to college from high school?
Yes, absolutely. So actually, I think I got maybe a little bit luckier than others. I got into Barnard through the HEOP program, um, which I can't even tell you. Opportunities program. He- HEOP, Higher Education Opportunities Program. I'm not sure about the acronym, but I know the OP stands for the Opportunities Program. And what they do is when you get into the college through the Opportunities Program, be it like the C step or like the HEOP, which is come under one umbrella, also BOP for the outside of state students in New York. So what they do is they bring you into the college like a month before the actual start of the colleges. So what we did is for us, for me in the class, well, in the 2019 when I came in, our program was in the July, so a full month. We lived in the dorm, like basically the whole college experience. I had a roommate, and then we had the classes we actually who were taught by the professors, and then we had also those I guess sessions where the opportunities program like taught us about like the, let's say, what resources are available at Barnard, um, how to navigate it, what to do, whom to go, basically all those sorts of things. And after 1 month of living, we went back home, but then we came back to the NSOP, which is the orientation program where we bonded now with other students. So the particular thing about the opportunities program is that the students in that program come with a similar background. So be it a fly student, which is the first generation low income students, and majority of us like bonded over that fact because we do come from similar backgrounds, in the sense of like maybe at high schools we had lack of resources, lack of preparation, also went through a similar things basically. And I actually formed majority of my friends even today are from the fly and background. Yes, Dior, you too. And even my roommate that I lived with like during that month, we still live together today. We've been living for the past 4 years and we still live together even like as seniors now.
That's great.
How you were able to form your find your community, find your support network to help you through like since the beginning till the end, and hopefully beyond that too.
No, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think those are all the questions I had. Thank you for your answers. But before we go, I think we need um yeah, and then if there's anything else you feel like we didn't ask you, anything that is important to share about you and your journey that we overlook, please let us know.
No, I think we covered pretty much everything, even a little bit more. And
Yeah, we
this
did
was
so
very fun and very interesting.
well.
At first, I was like, I don't think that I have a lot to say, but I guess I do.
Every experience has so much value in it, and you will like we will probably see so many people resonate with your story who maybe feel like sometimes oftentimes like college, when you speak to college students, or when I did like a summer program at Yale through my high school, I saw so many amazing candidates for college that I started questioning myself that I didn't see so many like first generation low income students applying to college for like using like seeing students who had lack of resources and how did they go about it. That was very challenging for me, and I started questioning, and at some point I didn't even want to apply because I was like, what's the point? um, but seeing those stories out there, and I think it will really help the students who might be struggling the same way we did. um,
Also, it's like, I guess not fascinating, a little bit sad to me in the sense of like there aren't many Central Asians in these Ivy League schools,
yeah.
in these prestigious schools, because majority of us would go into the CUNY, probably with for a reason just like yours, scared, maybe intimidated, feeling a little bit like, I don't belong there, which is absolutely not true. And I would encourage everyone to apply and try their best, give it a shot.
And I think one thing that we did like miss a little bit is financial aid.